Imagine, hypothetically, you are a teacher. And in your classroom, you have a young student, a boy named Sid. You ask him the very cliche question, Sid, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Sid gives you a very unusual response. He looks at you and says, I don't want to be anything. I want to meditate on the nature of suffering. Now that answer might take you a bit aback. And maybe as his teacher, you would say something like, Sid, you could be anything. You could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, an artist, you could be a teacher like me. You can do anything, but please don't do that. And it would probably be spoken out of a place of kindness and compassion, because meditating decades on suffering sounds like a big downer. And yet, I'm glad the real life Sid chose that exact life path. And maybe you are aware or not of who I am speaking. I'm referring to Siddhartha Gautama, otherwise known as the Buddha. What he taught, he said, all I teach is suffering and the alleviation of suffering. And you don't have to do what the Buddha did, which is meditate decades on suffering, because he willingly shared his insights with you, which he called the Four Noble Truths. Now, I'm not a Buddhist, but I believe it is a very rich spiritual tradition. And I have read a lot of Buddhist texts from which I have drawn a lot of wisdom. And I would love to share that wisdom with you over my interpretation of the Four Noble Truths.